Joining me now is co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room, Natalie Winters. Now, Natalie, great to see you. What a week in Washington. A political bombshell has rocked, well, America and the world. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has confirmed that former President Barack Obama is being referred to the Justice Department. At the heart of this, explosive claims that Barack Obama helped orchestrate the Trump-Russia intel narrative to undermine the 2016 election. Let's have a listen.
Any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
So, Natalie, in your opinion, is Barack Hussein Obama guilty of treason, and could he end up in prison?
Well, of course. And frankly, that was just, I think, the post-game bombshell. Obviously, the day prior, President Trump was in the Oval Office when he was addressing the global media, having a very significant meeting with the president of the Philippines, when he basically said those same words, right? He didn't just say, maybe Obama committed treason, maybe he was treason adjacent. He used the G word. He said that he was guilty of treason. And, you know, when President Trump indexes on something like that, that he's going to make it happen. I think you can see the through line. A lot of the names of people who were involved in these meetings really are mainstays in Democratic politics. They had extremely senior levels in the Biden regime. President Trump noted that these people were involved not just in 2016, but in 2020 and likely 2024, and frankly, probably through 2028 if President Trump doesn't do anything. To the second part of your question, if the Trump administration will actually move, there's certainly an appetite that we hope he does. Obviously, the base is super animated about this. But if you put it through the paradigm of what's happened with the Epstein files, I don't necessarily know if there's a lot of bark to the bite in terms of talking about going after the deep state. It's great to, instead of weaponizing these intel agencies against the American people, weaponize them on behalf of the American people to actually get the truth out there. But in terms of criminal referrals, I haven't necessarily seen, I think, the political will for the Trump administration to follow through on that.
Now, Natalie, this is hilarious. He doesn't like Jerome Powell, who's the head of the Federal Reserve Bank. He's called for him to be fired several times. One of Trump's criticisms, and let's not forget that Donald Trump is one of the great skyscraper builders of all time, one of his criticisms is that the new Federal Reserve building that Jerome Powell has been responsible for, the budget has ballooned from something like 1.9 to 2.5 billion. So the president went with Jerome Powell to look at the new building. Then they came out and talked about it. But look at this. This is just pure Donald Trump magic. This little comment here that he made. Have a listen.
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
That has to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen from the man who made his whole career out of firing people. Poor old Jerome Powell looked a bit shaky there. What did you make of it, Natalie?
I think probably a lot of Americans wish they would have had the opportunity to go after him like that. I think that he's also very representative of why people have so much disdain for the Russiagate stuff, right? Americans care about being able to have affordable mortgages, not make sure that the Fed has flashy new buildings to the tune of billions of dollars, and they keep tacking on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of increments. It's quite funny how he tried to fact check President Trump and say, well, actually, this one building, it was an extra 700 million, but that doesn't count because it was already completed. You're missing the forest for the trees. That's an incredibly out of touch comment. You know, you saw the Doge efforts, right? You saw the efforts to sort of get rid of that uncontrollable permanent political class, the administrative state people who are just so out of touch. And I think that that's a perfect clip. And frankly, it's exactly what I voted for. We love watching President Trump smack down, whether it's in the Oval Office, the new, I guess, Fed headquarters or wherever. But really, I think telling the truth in a way that you haven't seen, at least for the last 4 years under Joe Biden.
Fantastic. Well, Natalie, until this time next week, you're fired. But we'll see you back next week. Fantastic. Thanks so much. Natalie Winters there from Steve Bannon's War Room.